because it is my natural birthright. That's all that's coming to me in this moment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, I will read mine. Find them. I am happy and successful in all my endeavors. I am grateful to be so healthy and in such good shape. I love my life. It is full and rich and fun. I think outside the box and am capable of anything. My life is joyful and working perfectly. I am relaxed and enjoy every moment. I am so grateful and happy to be enjoying such success. So, thank you. I think everyone went, right? So I'm going to switch us back to the main microphone now.
Myself up to the abundant flow of goodness, like a magnificent wave. Bring forward good energy. I'm so grateful to see the flow and feel the flow. I forgive myself and everyone else without exception, looking forward only good.
I invite everyone to take another deep breath. And I invite the bees to go back to their seats.
So in this moment,
I did. I did go back.
feeling the energy that has moved through the room, sharing one another, knowing that it's all one voice, it's all one mind, it's all this one magnificent creative energy flowing in, through, and as the divine, speaking as the divine, hearing as the divine, living, being the divine, here, now. This is the moment. There's nothing to wait for. This is life now, not rehearsal. And so we live it fully. We open ourselves fully to experience tonight this class, this week 2 of Beyond Limits, in ways that we could not have imagined in advance. Because we are new in this moment. We've never been here before. So we open ourselves wide to experience something new, to hear, feel something new, release something that has been perhaps holding us back. So I know that the one mind works through everyone, all of us, every voice that speaks, every mind that thinks, every ear that hears, every heart that beats. So I'm grateful for this knowing. I'm grateful for this class. I'm grateful for all who attend online and here in person. For we are all together in one and never separate. That's what I know. That's what I accept. So I simply release this word into the law in gratitude and joy. And together we say, and so it is.
Okay, everyone.
I don't know why it's.
Can you get
I
out,
don't
please?
know.
Okay.
It's locked.
So,
It won't go back. I switched it back and it won't go back. Maybe it won't go back to this camera.
here it is. Okay, so let me just get some
It won't go
feedback.
back to this
How did that
camera.
feel?
Oh, fabulous.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah? Anybody have a negative experience?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, it seems maybe I'm new with the affirmations. They're very helpful for me in the mornings, but they all look like little essays.
Yours too.
Yes,
Okay.
that's not right.
No, that's not wrong. It's
Well.
just long.
Yeah, well, yeah, top to bottom.
Yeah. An
It's a
affirmation.
thought process.
An affirmation is supposed to cut to the chase.
Yeah.
And affect you in such a way that just hearing that one sentence, I forget what my daughter's was. One day she called me and told me what hers was. It was something like, today I am creative. That was all it was. And whenever she said it, it like worked for her.
Maybe I could start with like one run-on sentence.
Yeah. You'll be the Oscar Wilde of affirmations. Yes. So give me something that you felt.
It's just not showing it here.
Overwhelming love.
Yeah.
Just so much openness and a place of just
There you go.
so nice.
Great.
Kindness.
Great. That's good. Yes.
Intimacy.
Intimacy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Francesca. Can you guys hear online? Are you hearing well? Good. Francesca?
Gentleness.
Gentleness. Okay. Anthony?
Self-appreciation.
Self-appreciation. Good. Anybody else? Yes. Devin?
Oh, it's probably oneness for me.
It was probably oneness. Probably oneness. I don't know. Maybe not, but probably.
I had been trying to find what that feeling was for a while, and that seemed like the closest I've gotten in a while.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Yes, lady.
I don't believe in luck, but I thought, how many people in the world are doing this right now, right here? And how cool that is, and how beautiful in life being and hearing these beautiful, loving thoughts. I mean, and like we're the lucky ones. You know? I like being
I like that. Yeah.
I like being touched.
You liked being touched.
When they touch me, I like
I know. When I first did this at teen camp, and all of a sudden, all these teens are coming by, touching me, saying, "We love you." I was like, I was a mess. And when we started, I was like, "Oh, these and these. It's gonna be really tough." I was like, "God, and I'm like, So here's really what was going on. See that word there, energy? That's all that was happening just now. That's it. We changed the energy in the room. Y'all came in, it was a little crazy. We're still trying to figure out the computers, you know, we're still checking in. So the energy's where it is. Then we slow down for a minute, the energy changes, and then you actively, purposefully point what you are thinking, your thoughts, at something, or here, in this case, someone, and you are literally using energy. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. Now, the degree of energy you use depends on how much belief is backing it up. How much of what you're saying do you believe? And one of the things I find interesting is that it's easier to feel more about what you've written when you're telling someone else sometimes. Did anybody feel that?
Yeah.
So that when you're saying to someone, you are the love of the universe expressing perfectly. I believe that about Joselito.
And it felt to me like everything everyone said was like, those are the exact words I needed to hear. Just
Yeah, written just for you.
yeah.
By you.
It's like, well, yeah, when you give your talk, it's like, he was in my house. He
I
knew
do.
my
I write them just for you. The funny part is I write them for me. But we're all in one mind. So it's only one mind. So do you all get that? Because tonight really is about the creative process, but really about the energy that you have at your fingertips or at your mental tips to use for whatever you decide to use it for. I love what Lindsay said. How great that how blessed are we that we got to be here doing this, as opposed to watching CNN, using our energy that way, reactively. None of you, by the way, none of you were in reactive energy. You should have been either in receptive energy, receiving energy, not reacting to it. What happened to you was natural. You weren't just reacting to what you heard. It's what comes through you when you're willing to receive or actively giving. So that's what was just going on. Everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, one of the harder parts of the evening is going to be, I'm going to ask you now to just take your chairs and put them back to classroom mode.
No, teacher, we don't want to.
If you don't want to, I'm happy to teach in the middle of the room if you want me to. Never let it be said that I don't follow direction. Yeah, no, I don't need a board. Yeah, Nancy, watch your head. Don't sit. Got it. Good. Okay. This is going to be fun, as I said that whole story about how I hate the rabbit. See what happens when I resist persist. What I resist persists. Okay. Okay, so.
You want to turn a little bit more towards me?
Yes. Well, do you want to not cut my head off? Just hanging there. Okay, so I'm going to keep turning. So just like you guys are going to be just like everybody else. Sometimes you'll get my back.
No, it's fine.
And it's very nice.
It's staring around.
I'm working hard on it. So, okay. So let's talk about our objectives tonight. These are the first 3 weeks. Did everybody get weeks 1 and week 2?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, tonight, Caressa is sending out week 3. You'll have it tonight. So everybody's on the Google group now. You're all on the Google group? You're all getting the Google group. Did you get the emails?
I get the email. I think I will now.
That's the Google group.
You forwarded it.
Okay, that's the Google. Oh, okay.
No, I got it.
Okay.
You got me now, but I don't know about Google.
It's a Google group, so if you're not getting it, it's because it's probably in your trash because it's going to 46 people. So your email thing.
It's just beyond limit.
It's an email.
It's beyond limit.
Okay, so
I'll just hit my email.
So we have three things we're learning these first 3 weeks. Last week was oneness. So before I go into this week, any questions about what you read from last week's material? Any questions or challenges? You guys online, all you have to do is speak and you will pop up on my screen. No questions, I can move on. Everybody gets oneness. Devin, why don't you tell me what you thought what oneness was?
Oneness?
Yeah, when you were just saying it felt like oneness.
I didn't feel like, well, for a second I forgot that a bunch of people were reading their affirmations that they had created and they were reading them to me because you told us to.
Okay. So then oneness feels, it's that moment where everything just kind of morphs into one thing. Does that make sense? That's good. Can we all agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this week is about the creative process. And we're going to start with what's called the triune nature of being. How many people here grew up Catholic or Christian? Who are Catholics? Any Catholics? Okay, so then you all know the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yes.
Right? Holy Spirit changed in around the 70s to Spirit. We got rid of Casper. So, Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay, so that's the triune nature of the Catholic Church. I don't know, do Christians have that too? Father, Son, Holy Spirit?
Yeah,
Same
because
thing?
yeah.
Okay. It's probably just not as intense. That was the purpose of Christianity. Take the intensity out of Catholicism. So the triune nature of it's so funny because when I taught the creative process last week, very quickly, which we're really going to get into tonight, it's spirit, soul, body. So instead of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, it's spirit, soul, and body. And that's the triune nature of being. Now, the truth is, they're never individual. Just like we are never individual, really. We're always together with the oneness. So it needs to be understood, spirit, soul, and body, not as 3 different things, but as 3 parts of a whole. So Reverend Nancy is going to talk about the triune nature of spirit tonight before I go into the creative process. So have at it, Nancy.
How about it? Spirit, soul, body. The three aspects or the 3 ways that the universe works. Has anybody ever taught a teenager to drive?
Oh, I'm waiting.
Okay, so my granddaughter's learning to drive, and in order for her to learn how to do that, she has to learn the basic functions of the car, what they are: the steering wheel, the gear shift, the brake, the gas. And so the parts of the triune nature of spirit works in the same way. The top part, I'm going to have to draw on the board, and so that's okay. You can follow me over here. So you all are probably familiar with our symbol, the Signs of Mind symbol, black is Beth. the science of mind symbol.
Is black is best.
Black
Did you all hear it that way?
so black is best. We got it. So the circle is the whole thing. All of God. And it's everywhere present. It's in the space around everything that's present. But in order for us to talk about something that is intangible, Ernest Holmes created this diagram. And the top part, so that would be Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right, for Catholics, okay? So up here is conscious mind, conscious mind. The conscious mind directs the car. It steers it, tells it where to go, gives it direction. In the middle, we have the subjective mind. The subjective mind is receptive. It receives instruction from the conscious mind. So you make a decision about a direction that you want to go in, and you put it into prayer, you put it into affirmation, and it falls into this part, which is receptive. It receives what you give. Now, if Cassie hasn't learned to drive yet, which she hasn't, and she runs into the curb, or she forgets that she thought the gas was the brake and the brake was the gas, and Dad says, "No, stop." That's because the subjective mind is impersonal. It has no will of its own. It simply does what the conscious mind tells it to do. So your car is a very powerful piece of machinery. You could kill people with it. So we have to be very careful about what we put in the subjective part of our mind, because it cannot say, "Oops, not a good idea. You're not going to like that one. Sorry, I'm going to change direction for you." It can't do that. It is totally impersonal and receptive, like plastic. It takes the form that you give it, or that the universe gives it. And down here we get the result. So if you were a good driver and you were paying attention on the road, you got home and you were relaxed, you're feeling good. Or if you were not paying attention or didn't know how to drive well, you might have had an accident, or you might have gotten a ticket on the way home. Then you have the opportunity to blame somebody else for your experience. But you are you're the director. You forgot to put on the brake. You were looking at your cell phone, or you were talking to somebody, and you weren't paying attention. And that's why you had a result that wasn't what you would prefer. There's in our statement of being that Ernest Holmes wrote, he writes, "The manifest universe is the body of God." So the word would be up here. Remember in the Bible it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God." So the word is either your spoken word, or your thought, your idea, your intention that sets something in motion, but it starts up here. This is where your word, your intention, your idea gets planted into, when I started, we called it the soil, because that's just easy. I get it. When I plant in here, I'm going to receive down here, because I planted it. Now, if I have unhappy thoughts about a person, or my job, or whatever it may be, and I'm planting those thoughts in this receptive. I'm going to get a result from it, and I'm not going to be happy about the result. And then I'm going to blame the person and say it was that they were at cause, but they were not at cause, were they? I'm at cause. So where would the steering wheel go? Of the car. Where would the steering wheel go? At the top.
Soil.
What?
Soil? Or in the
middle. Subjective.
Who thinks it goes at the top? How many think it goes in the middle? Okay. I'm driving the car, and I think, I want to go to Costco. And I go, Costco's over there, so I take the wheel and make the decision, that's where I'm going, and I have to turn right. So I take the wheel, and I turn right to go in the direction that I want to go. So the steering wheel is the director. It's directing the activity of the car at this moment. So the steering wheel would go up here.
Nancy?
Yeah.
But the steering wheel doesn't make the decision.
No.
The steering wheel didn't make the decision. The person made the
person
decision
made the
to
decision.
use the steering
You're
wheel,
right.
which does whatever it does.
Thank you.
Those that said the middle were correct.
You are correct. Okay, I love it. The steering wheel goes here. Yeah, because it has no. How do you spell steering now?
ER. Yeah.
Yeah. The steering wheel, yeah. The steering wheel goes here. It has no conscious will of its own. The will is up here.
That would be the driver.
The driver's up here. Cassie's up here. God bless her. The driver's up there, and the wheel and all the rest of it, the gas, the brakes, and everything, they have no volition of their own. So out here, we're going to eventually get someone who knows how to drive a car. So in order to understand, how this power that we have works, we have to get that. What I love about this is the receptive part is also the soul or the subjective mind, which I said before. So up here is the driver, the conscious mind. And when you plant something in here, you're planting it in the soul of the universe. You're planting it in the universe. You're planting it in the oversoul, the wholeness, the allness of God. That's where the power comes from. So knowing that our conscious thoughts, our conscious decisions are planted in this limitless source, the ability to do anything that you can conceive of and believe in. But you have to believe that it's possible. And the result you can receive from it can be exactly what you want. I know, I'm looking at Connie, has had amazing results using this exact process. That's how it works. That's how the universe works. And we are, and so this is the universe, a macrocosm. We are the macrocosm in miniature. We are the microcosm, an exact replica of the macrocosm. It works in us exactly as it does in the universe. The manifest universe is the body of God. Your life and everything in it is the manifest body of your life because you created it. And knowing that, then we can become responsible, not about blame, but about taking responsibility of looking at a situation and going, okay, what did I plant? What was in my consciousness that allowed this to show up in my life? Because I put it there, clearly. And so that's taking responsibility. And then I can go, okay, next time I'm going to be more aware of what I'm thinking, of my conscious thoughts. And they can run, they can run us, but we're in charge. No, I'm the only thinker in my mind. I love that. Let's say that. I am the only thinker in my mind. Say it again. I am the only thinker in my mind. No one else can plant a thought in your mind unless you give them permission to do so. Okay?
Great. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
So this is going to be interesting now because you kind of did the creative process. So I'll do the triune nature. And here's another thing that's funny. You all know that there were two religious sides, right? There was United Church of Religious Sides and the International. This is the diagram of the United Church of Religious Sides. And I've always found it interesting what this V stands for. I guess it just means the impulsive nature of creation as it moves down. But I'm going to get rid of it. Just to go to the triune nature like this. So the triune nature is, what did I say? What's number one? Spirit. Soul. Body. So let's start with spirit. Want somebody say something? So let's start with spirit. So if all three of these things are just parts of the whole, what would spirit be? Liza?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If all three things are part of a whole, what would spirit be constituting? If I'm going to Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, relate it to Catholicism or Christianity, if you can.
Father,
Father, meaning what?
meaning the allness.
Okay. Okay,
Meaning
what else?
everything.
Source. The source of all. Yes. The creative spark. Yes.
Mind,
Okay.
intelligence.
Mind, intelligence. Emerson calls it the oversoul, right? Honey, stay on me. I'm talking. Stay on me when I'm talking. We'll get a second camera for their reactions to what I said. Because I was getting dizzy. Did anybody else watch Nancy on the screen instead of in person?
Yeah.
I did, didn't I? I was like watching her on the screen. I went, she's right through. Anyway, so source. Emerson calls it the oversoul. So the triune nature is understanding that the oversoul, that which is the source of all, that which is the creation of all, that which had no beginning, no end, that infinite, limitless, creative spark that is the biggest thing we could ever even think about, is who we are. It's a part of who we are. It's actually all of who we are. And so that's the spirit. That's the top of the food chain. Spirit, soul, body. So then what would soul be in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit?
The Son.
The Son. But here's how I like to look at it. This is how I remember it. It's the Son. If it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Son was Jesus, correct?
Yes.
What's the greatest contribution Jesus gave us for new fathers? What do you think?
Love and forgiveness.
Okay.
Well, that He
And
has
then
done
everything He does to you.
It is done unto you as you believe.
Oh, okay.
That's our entire teaching. That's what we are. It is done unto you as you believe, because that is what? The law of cause and effect. What you create must manifest. So when I'm looking at spirit, soul, body, spirit is the whole enchilada. The soul is the son, the individual, where the law resides, and that's me. Just like Nancy said, I may be the driver, but I have the wheel to create, to manipulate. I won't like to use that word. To create with, to drive in certain directions. I'm loving this. Okay? To direct. Thank you. So there's spirit, soul, Father, Son, and then the Holy Spirit. This one gets a little more tricky, because what is the body really?
manifestation.
We say what'd you say? A vessel.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
The ship. The car. The thing. Costco. Costco's a great example. Since it has so many. Costco, the world of big ketchup bottles like this. Right? So body of spirit, soul, body ends up being this
Yeah.
physical world. As was the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, when it imbued itself in someone, brought reality, brought life, brought consciousness, I am awake. I am now, I'm tactile. Do y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
So I can still look at Father, Son, and Holy Spirit and see that which is the allness, the individualization of the allness that understands how to use the law of cause and effect, because it's the law. My mind is the law. And then the body, which is the world that I live in. Clear? Yeah. So that's the triune nature of spirit. And that's what we teach. The triune nature of spirit. Okay? Now, I'm going to move that right into the creative process, which Nancy did cover. I leave this open. You know, I always say this is kind of like one of those gourds. I leave it open because I like this. Nancy's circle was the macrocosm, that which is the allness. This is the individualization. This is you, each one of us, okay? And as Ernest Holmes says, it is only described, it's only put this way as a teaching tool for you to understand it. All of this is one thing. But when we do the creative process, it's important to remember that the creative process is a process that you get to use on purpose. You get to use your mind on purpose. Here's what I think. The law says, do you? Yeah, you do. And you get it. It really is that simple. It is the seed, the soil, and the plant. I choose what the seeds are. Here's the soil that takes whatever I decide to plant and give it to me. That's really the creative process, pretty simply put. Yes, Linda.
It's dawned on me, because it's been so long, that the V coming through was that the spirit of divine is in everything. The spirit, soul, and the body.
And it kind of combines all three. Yeah.
Just
As you say that now, that makes great sense. So what I want you to see here, what I have on the board, and I beautifully put this in the middle of the day as I thought of it, energy equals that. Energy equals the creative process. Energy is not what we use. It is the creative process. We get to use it, but it is the creative process. All of energy is constantly growing, expanding, moving, knowing itself. That's what God was. That is that thing that knows itself so much that it creates as out of itself, from itself, with itself, making itself. You all get that? Liza? Just had this little glaze for a moment. I was like, Okay. So, page 22 of your sheets. Page 22. In the Science of Mind textbook, it says this. This is page 129 too in the textbook, but in your book, it's in your pamphlet, it's too. We shall assume that neither law nor the stuff from which form comes has conscious intelligence, but must, because of their nature, be formed by the word. We shall assume that neither law nor the stuff from which form comes has conscious intelligence, but must, because of their nature, be formed by the word. You know what that's saying? You know what Aristotle's saying here? Form, body, and the stuff from which it comes, the soul, must have something that created it. So you can look at your life and literally see what you've been doing with this creative process. Whatever is in your life right now, whatever is in front of you, to the smallest, minutest detail, it came from here, which is you, your conscious mind. Because whatever shows up here has been created by this brilliant thing called the law of cause and effect, and you are the cause. So what does that mean? That means that, you can never, ever again consider yourself a victim. I know I said that last week. You can never again think and here's the better part of this, you can never again think that something is impossible to change. So you just can't get into that rut. You can have at it, but there's no substance behind the rut you may think you're in, because at any moment you can change it by going to spirit, the top conscious mind, your mind. Okay, so also on that page it states that human spirit merges with universal spirit. Now, you're going to find when you study with me that I'm going to question, actually I'm not even going to question, I'm just going to say it's just wrong. It's old, it's antiquated ideas. This is Mile High's pamphlets that you're getting, which is from 2005. It's almost 11 years later. And we have moved beyond understanding that universal mind merges with individual mind and creates. No, there's no two minds. I am universal mind. You are universal mind. Individualized. In the first exercise we did, when you were receiving, that was your opportunity to realize your universal mind. I would assume many of you felt like you morphed out of your individual self and just felt so much bigger, so much fuller, so much more awake. That's what that's about. So, and it also diminishes, and you'll see it in the page there. It says human spirit, and has human and spirit in lower letters. Small h, small s. And then it says universal spirit, capital U, capital S. It's just another way to create duality. And it's just another way to keep you separate from the divine source that you are. So get in the habit of reading this stuff and going, yeah, that's not it anymore. This is what I know about this.
Well,
Yes.
it's funny because I think I was looking at that. It's in page 2.5. And it says, the last sentence is, they are not separate entities, but rather two aspects of the one working as one. Which I was like, that doesn't make any sense. There's two aspects of the one working as one would just be one. Right?
Yes.
It didn't make any sense to me. So
Here's the thing.
I'm glad you
I
said
believe this material is on the verge of moving past that paradigm shift of duality. A lot of our material, it wants to move to this next level.
that. Well, it's a ladder.
I'm just giving it a little gentle nudge. Okay? So Nancy said this too. I reenact in microcosm the continuum of creation. I reenact in microcosm the continuum of creation. Again, that's just a little dualistic for me. So even the idea of microcosm, macrocosm is a little too dualistic for me. But I understand what we're going for. We just have to be willing to really use our minds to go to a place where we really understand I am never the microcosm separate from the macrocosm. And for me, that means we're going to need to take these steps, these giant steps, to just I am the macrocosm. That's the same thing as saying I am God. I'm not the wave. I'm not the drop. I'm not one with. I am God. And this is the level. And he talks about this later too. This is the level I'm operating at in this thing called God that I am. But you can operate in any level. How many people feel that they're in levels they'd like to be a little higher in? Right? Probably most of us would like a little higher experience of God at times. Yeah. Okay, so in the book, in your material, invisible principle, visible results. So I did not bring my ball that I had, but I'm going to use my key. So invisible principle, visible results. Okay. Ready? So here you go. What just happened?
Gravity.
Did you see gravity?
No.
What did you see?
Yeah.
You saw my keys fall on the floor, right? Okay. So what do you think's going on in your mind right now?
Nothing.
Okay, so here, just drop those keys, make them in the floor. That was a good individual use of gravity, right? Okay, good. Eric. It was great. Okay, so good gravity, right? It's not changing. Gravity's not changing. And if I decide to like throw it that way, right? The speed with which I throw it doesn't change the fact that gravity is gravity. So the speed at which I use my mind to create doesn't change the fact that it's going to create based on whatever I have it do. I could also just dangle these here. No, I'm telling gravity. Now I'm going to talk to gravity. I'm going to say, look, I want you, I'm going to really give you a chance to really just hold that. Okay, this doesn't do that. It won't do that. So I can say to my mind, you know what, mind? I'm going to think a lot of crappy things, but don't give it to me because I'm just venting. It doesn't care. It's going to give you the dropped keys. Okay? And I made my keys. Can I put my keys back? I wanted to do it with a ball because I was going to throw it against the wall and juggle and all sorts of things. It doesn't change, right? So same thing goes for the principle of creative thought. That's what's going on in your mind. And it is a principle. It's a principle. It works perfectly. This up here works perfectly. Who you are works perfectly. The law works perfectly. And what shows up in the body of your life is the perfect manifestation of that. So just take a moment and take a look at your body of your life right now. And then back it up. And say to yourself, how did I get here? How did that become what it is? What have I been thinking? And more importantly, you know this, because I think I said this last week to you. Your beliefs create your thoughts, create your feelings, create your emotions. That's the way it works. So those of you who are highly emotional,
Watch out.
find out what those beliefs are that are making you so highly emotional. Okay? Because these beliefs are creating the way you think creates the way you feel the way you feel, and then you emote. That's how this whole process works. So, if you see your life and you see something in your life, we have this amazing tool called our minds to back up and go, what am I believing? I had a great session with someone today who, at the end of this hour session, a belief just came flying out. And it was a belief that was literally, I said, you do realize that is the belief. It's the belief. Everything else is ancillary to this belief. That's what's driving your entire life. There's the belief. And it was just so emotionally fulfilling to go, yep, there it is. Of course, now it's like, and what am I going to do with it? You know, because change your thinking, change your life. You can't change your thinking until you change your belief. Otherwise, you're just kind of speaking words. So, again, I hope you can look at your life and say, what's behind this? Because that's really the most important part of it. So there's another thing, there's a little part of this where he says, why is an invalid question? Did you read that whole section?
Yes.
I completely disagree. No. I know what they're trying to say. They're trying to, and it makes me so livid because it almost sounds like my Catholic upbringing. Don't ask why the Blessed Mother had a baby without ever having sex. She just did. So just believe it and get over it. I'm like, that's not going to work for me. That was my first exit out of most of those things that we were supposed to believe. Do not question why. You don't need to know why. Just believe it. So it's a little bit of that. But I understand what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, don't spend all of your time trying to figure out why, because it's a dead-end road. That doesn't mean you shouldn't ask why.
Yeah, John, it's funny because I was thinking about that. I like that part because I remember reading Raymond Charles Barker recently, the explanation is not pure. And that's the challenges, limits of psychology. That's what psychology does. It forces you to ask why.
Right.
But it doesn't affect change.
Right. And what I'm going to suggest is, I'm really good with why, but don't feel like you have to have the answer. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's not about the answers. Just asking why. So why does the law of cause and effect work the way it does? I don't now have to go nuts trying to figure it out. But the question expands me. Bless you. Is there another one? They come in threes. It's the triune nature of sneezing. Yes. So I'm good with why, as long as it doesn't take you down a path of avoiding what you need to do. See what I'm saying? I just don't want to teach. I don't want to teach. You don't need to know why. I want you to know that why is a great question. Now get off of the question and live the question, not try to go after the answer. Right?
I'm really trying to ask from the heart, these questions. The gravity with the keys, it's a great metaphor.
Right.
But I'm not sure where the relationship with the metaphor and the reality is. Because we can all believe as hard as we want, we can change our beliefs about gravity. It doesn't seem, can we make the keys go up?
Oh no. Did you think I was saying that?
No, I don't think you're saying that. But I'm
I was just showing that the principle of mind is the same as all principles are the same. They're infallible. Gravity's going to work the way gravity works. Right. Doesn't matter if you use it, I use it. If Saddam Hussein used it, we're all going to get it to work the exact same. It works the way it works.
It's a great metaphor.
Yeah.
So, but taking it a sense on faith as a statement of doctrine, this is how it works.
No, it's actually scientifically proven that in matter, energy, that moving upon energy produces a result. Energy constantly moves upon itself and creates what it creates. Emo, the water guy, showing that music played on water on energy. So it's just the energy that moves it and changes it. That's what we're talking about. The energy inherent in energy is creative force. Make sense?
Yeah, I've got some issues with Nemo and the water guy.
Why?
Well, So again, I'm trying to stay from the heart. There's a temptation to get so, intellectually, analysis and trying to see what's even. I'm confused by the terminology of, law, spirit stuff. So stuff a lot. So I think I'll just stick with it metaphorically and keep working on trying to articulate these questions.
The question I have then for you is, do you believe that your thought is created?
Yes, and this is we used to say this years ago here. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to believe creates the experience.
Right. Do you believe that?
Yes.
That's what we're teaching.
That's
what this is.
Clear.
Just like gravity is what it is, so is your ability to create based on what you believe. Or as Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe.
Certainly my experience of what happens and what goes on.
Right.
I see sometimes it seems to me there's a leap here saying it goes a step beyond. These things that happen outside here are also my experience of them. So of course, my experience is the totality.
Mm-hmm.
There's a philosophy of that. Yeah, I can accept that as I get that, sure. Right? Everybody here exists really in my mind.
Well, they really exist.
Yeah.
But your experience.
My experience, and my experience is the only experience.
I exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I exist differently to you than I do to Lindy.
Right.
I would think, just innate. But yes, I agree with what you're saying, and I see where you're going, and I love the questions. I really do. I think questions are really important. For me, using the analogy of gravity, you either do or you do not believe that all of your beliefs are creating your experience. The sum total of your beliefs are creating your experience. We teach that is a spiritual principle aligned in absolute truth, just like gravity. And that you don't get to say, well, these beliefs created this, but I didn't create this. Something else did. That's duality. That's believing that there's some other power than the power that is your mind. And what's hard for people mostly is to say, looking at the cumulative effect of the world, that everyone is responsible for everything that's going on. That's sort of what I'm hearing you say.
I'm okay with that.
You are?
Yeah,
well, then
let's
you're good
keep
at
rolling. Let's keep rolling. Yeah,
you're good then if you're okay with that.
Yeah, it's just making that jump from my experience to manifesting a diamond ring out of the universe by.
Okay, well, so okay, I see what you're going to say. Okay, Ernest Holmes talks a lot about magic. That's magic. That's magic. Is my mind so powerful that in a set I can just say diamond ring, I believe it, and there it is. Do I think that's a possibility? Maybe in some lifetime, many, many years after this, when people's minds catch up to the fact that they can create instantaneously, maybe that's possible. I'm not going to try to do it because I know I can't do that. That is out of the realm of what I am capable of right now. And basically what he says is, don't waste your time asking yourself questions like, well, if this is true, then why can't I create this? Because guess what? It's because you are at the level you're at of this thing called divine consciousness. And eventually you're going to be at a different level. We all will. I mean, we're doing things today that 100 years ago, if they were sitting in this room, would say, well, I'll never be able to do that. And for us, it's like nothing.
But I think it's also, as you said before, your thoughts and affirmations are not your beliefs. So
Right.
you can say, I want a diamond ring, but you said so right now. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
So that will never happen for you because right off the bat you said it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that most of us would probably believe, I can't manifest a ring like that.
Most of us?
Well-
Anybody in this room? Because I want to see it.
Seriously, but maybe you can. Maybe you can say, like, I want to get engaged, I'm going to manifest this.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
I can manifest
Right.
a diamond ring. I know where Tiffany's is.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But the
And
point
you can manifest a lifestyle that allows you to afford it. You
I
can
know what
manifest
I'm
somebody to fall in love with you
Yes.
and give it to you.
Absolutely.
But I think that's
That's
okay.
not so
So
much
here's the problem: is on the one hand, you say you can't manifest it because you don't believe that at this moment you can manifest it. Okay, so that's one thing. But the other thing is acknowledging that you can manifest. So that when you say, I believe I can, and you really do, the manifestation is not necessarily right now, but it's coming.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
And the other important part of this, Liza, is this. Remember, I said that I believe there is going to come a day when I will do that.
Right.
I leave that door wide open. I really do. I don't just stick with, and this is where most people get in trouble, I don't just stick with, I can't do it.
Right.
I leave constant room for, because there are things I do today that I never thought I could do, right? And so you have to leave room for that because your spirit, with the open top to the gorge. So, any other questions before I roll on? Okay,
I do
which is good.
I keep going back to, I listened to Wayne Dyer for years and years and years, here and there. And I remember him talking about one time he was in a tennis match. And he knew for a fact that he could not get to that ball in time. And he was so clear that the ball slowed down was the only way it could have happened. So he had that ability. He also talked about, did anybody see the thing where he's just like, there's 3 or 4 ways you can get ice cream. You can say, I really want some ice cream. And then the second one was, I really want some ice cream. You go down the store and get it. The third one was, I really want some ice cream. And then somebody knocks at the door and says, here's ice cream. And then the third one is just to manifest it. So it's possible.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I also know at this point in my life, I can't say, first of all, I'm not doing dairy. I can't say ice cream just because of that. No, but I can't say that everybody shows up. But I leave the door open because I sure believe the mind can create anything. The mind is very powerful. We don't know if Jesus really walked on water or if it was low tide, as I say all the time. I don't know if Jesus really found a coin in a fish's head or if someone threw a coin at it and it landed in a fish's head and there it was. I don't know. I don't care. Because I've gone many of those of you who have been at this church since the beginning, 12 years ago, I was adamant that it was low tide. I moved well beyond that because I actually now believe Jesus could have walked on water if he chose to. And he was far more involved than I am at this particular moment in my life. Although I'm getting there. Okay, love and law. That's what we teach. Love and law. Love being the self-givingness of spirit to itself, and law meaning that thing within that always answers itself perfectly. And this is one of my favorite quotes. Love points the way, and law makes it happen. So just think about that. Love.
Law is the.
So that's here.
The drivers.
Yep, here you go. This is one of the things we're going to do. Love. Law.
Costco.
Conscious mind. Subjective mind. Okay. And form. You're going to see in your homework, or you're going to see in your papers that there's an exercise, and I'm not doing it because I find it very tedious, to sit and give all the different names for these 3 things. And you can have at it. I think it's in your worksheets. Because there are just so many different names. How many of you practitioners took the test to be a practitioner and got things like, what was the ones that everybody kept getting wrong? The mirror of the soul or something like that. Reflective mirror. They decided to name one of them. And even when I was grading them, I was like, oh my God, where is it? Really, where does it go? Reflective mirror. Because all you guys had them in different, somebody said top, someone said middle, and I had to literally look it up. I was like, this is just stupid. Let's just stick with spirit, soul, mind. Or conscious mind, subjective mind, forms. That works. Okay, so love points the way, law makes the way, makes it happen. So now here's what I'm going to do. I am moving to How to Change Your Life, the book. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to cover pages 1 through 16, and then you'll read through page 17 next week. So you can grab the book if you want, but I don't think I'm really going to tell you what page everything is on. So good luck. So, how next week 17? I'll tell you. Yeah. 17 through 40, I think it's 41. So, this book is new to me. I've never read this book. I literally, it's amazing to me. This is as good as the textbook, even better. I find it simpler to follow. And it's real. I just did. Have you ever read? Did you ever read this book? Did any of us ever? No. I have a really old copy of it. It's a great book. It's really. Did you read it?
Yeah.
You have it. They teach you. Did you have this?
I taught this class.
Oh, you did. It's in Beyond Limits. There you go. I find this book really simple and very clear and very straightforward. So the first thing he says is your dreams can come true. So I just wanted to ask you tonight, what are your dreams? And I would like to hear some of them. What are you dreaming for yourself? Everyone's in this class for a reason. I'm knowing that most of you are in this class because you want to learn how to use this science better, or learn how to use it, or find out what you actually believe of it, to see what there is to use. But if we start this book with your dreams can come true, he says you have a right to them. You have a right to the dream itself. You have a right to attain the dream, and you can. You have a right to your dreams. You have a right to attain them, and you can attain them. So, what are your dreams? What are your dreams?
What if you have like 1,000?
Pick a biggie. What do you want? What? Give me one that.
No, that's what I'm here to learn. So I'm trying to figure out.
You don't know what your dreams
I have
are?
so many things that I like.
Give me anyone.
Well, maybe being an
Okay, so you have a dream of someday being an author. Get rid of maybe. You have a dream of someday being an author. Do you like to write? Okay, great. Are you writing?
journal stuff.
Okay. Whose journal became like a bestseller? Oh, Notes to Myself. Remember that? That like turned the whole. I had those. Did y'all read Notes to Myself? Remember sitting reading Notes to Myself in golf? Okay, good dream. Who else? This is a dreamless cat class. Is that what I'm being told? What are your dreams? What's your dream, Sean?
I like to write and record a great album.
Ooh, music. Cool. Yeah. Okay,
I like
great.
to finish some stuff that I started.
Yeah. Okay.
Music.
Okay, good. That's a great dream. So, you have a right to that dream. You have a right to that dream. You actually can attain it, can't you?
I'm
Okay.
believing more than I can.
Okay, can you attain it? Okay, good. And you can. There you go. Okay, what else? Francesca, what's your dream?
By water, like the sea or the ocean.
Okay. There's a lot of apartments by the LA River. Don't say by the water. Because you could end up next to a water tank. You want to live by the ocean. Or lake, or a river, something, yeah. Okay, a body of water. Great. Okay. Okay, good. Connie?
I'm very much like Sean. My dream is to be able to stand on stage.
I think you were just going to say, I'm going to write an album and record it.
I'm gonna write an album, record it, stand on stage, and
It's serious.
y'all, and my knees won't go.
Okay. Okay, good. Devin, what's your dream?
To be able to freely make any project that I have in mind without really worrying about anything else.
So your dream is to just be able to what source does through you to just do it and not worry about it, and it's all going to happen perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, that is the truth. That's how it works. The only way it doesn't work that way is when we add the crap to it. When we suddenly tell ourselves something else like, oh, that's going to be hard. Oh, no one's going to want that. Oh, someone already wrote this. Whatever. Somebody already wrote this book on. What do you want to write about?
Children's books.
Oh. Somebody's already written those. No. Who else? Honey, y'all must have dreams. Then record another album. Yeah, this is like quite a musical group. Record another album.
And
Okay,
have
great.
more than one hit song.
Because you've had one hit song.
No.
Oh.
I just don't want to say. I don't want to say I have a hit song.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have more than one.
Great. Multiple hits
Yes.
on this one album. Amy Grant's big album. Great. Craig, what's your dream? I mean, you've had so many incredible things happen to you.
No, I'm in the same boat. And gosh, I try to answer that question. What one thing? I pick one. You know what? To be what I am more as a musician, songwriter, performer, and without the smallness in it.
Right.
Bigger.
I was sitting with a motivational speaker the other day, a very successful one, very successful, and I was taken aback when what was said to me was, "Don't you wish you could be bigger? Don't you wish that you could be more successful?" And at first I said, "You mean me or you?" I said, "Because you're like amazingly successful." He says, "No, I mean me. But did you ever get that feeling like you're not big enough? You're not doing enough?" And I was so surprised because you look at, I'm sure Tom Cruise feels that. He wishes he could be like the #1 actor again. So I think he is right now. So it's pretty interesting that this whole concept of dreams, we have gradations of them and we judge them, and we only let ourselves have so much of it based on our beliefs of who we are. I mean, I think you should be able to walk out on stage without your knees knocking tomorrow, today, tonight. There's no reason not to. Because here's the deal. You're God. Just remember God's walking on stage to talk. I do that every Sunday. I say, get out of the way. Nellie, get out of the way and just talk and just let it happen. And there are just moments, not here, but there'll be moments when I'm giving a keynote somewhere, like in Toronto, and I followed this guy who was a genius. And I remember there was a moment as this guy was speaking, I was like, oh, Lordy. Because Jonathan had me as the closing speaker, and I was like, oh my God. And I had this, and I was like, oh wow, that's ego. That's ego. My ego just showed up, got in the way, and said, James Mellon has to go out there and slay him. I was like, no, ego, get out of the way, just get up and speak. And I had a great time. I forgot about it, so you'll do that. Okay, so, anybody else want to share before I move on? Okay. My thought is one of his quotes in this book. My thought is in control of my experience. Agreed? My thought is in control of my experience. Anybody not going to agree to that? It's really your belief, but still works. My thought is in control of my experience. There's something he brings up here. He says it has to make sense. And that's why Craig is asking the questions he was asking. If it doesn't make sense, the mind's not going to buy it. If the mind doesn't buy it, the mind's not going to create it. It's going to create based on what it doesn't buy. You all get that? Yeah. So, it has to make sense. I call this spiritual logic. And in CPR, how many of you have taken CPR? So most of you, any of you have taken it, you've heard me talk about spiritual logic. I can logically make sense out of certain things. I can make logical sense out of a lot of things. I can make spiritual logic out of anything. The diamond, I can make spiritual logic out of that. I can make it make perfect sense why I could create a diamond like that. I just don't believe it enough to make it happen. So that's what he's saying. It has to make sense. So if you just go through this class and listen to all these ideas and do the workshops and do the homework and do the reading and everything, and don't question yourself, don't really challenge yourself to say, do I believe what I'm reading? Yes, question?
No, Joseph said his dreams.
Oh, go ahead, Joseph. Tell me what they are. Or Cresta, tell me.
He said, dreams, create a meditation album, and open my own center for spiritual living as a minister.
Where does Joseph live?
I don't know. Joseph, where do you live?
I live in Edmonton, Canada.
Yeah, good for you. Okay. So, how far can you go logically? Because it's really going to be how far you go physically. How far can you go logically? Is it logical for you to live by the ocean? Good. Is it logical for you to write a best-selling children's book that catapults you to fame and fortune and to a life that is so leisureful and so able for you to just do whatever you want, go wherever you want because you have all the money in the world, and then create from there? Because the book's going to turn into a movie and a TV series, an animated series. But this is how you have to think. Yes, right? Or you're thinking, okay, I'm going to try to write a children's book. I know there's a lot out there. Let's just see what comes up. Okay? So, but is it logical? Yes.
What about something like that you're not actually dreaming about or anything, but it happens to you, like illness or something like that?
Okay. What is illness?
Experience.
Okay, you're right.
You're experiencing.
Okay? Where do you think the illness comes from? I will tell you this. What you're going to read next week is in the book is on health. Part of it is on health. But I'm happy to answer that question. Everything is a result of some belief. What we teach, certainly Louise Hay talks about this a lot, all dis-ease is some rogue belief left unattended. And most of it's self-deprecating, unloving thoughts about ourselves. It's something going on in our belief system left unattended that is creating dis-ease, creating an energy field around our body that creates disease. So are we creating it? Yeah, we are creating it, not consciously. I didn't consciously create cancer. I didn't consciously say, I think 2010 is a good year for cancer. Let's work on that. I didn't. I just got it. But when I got it, I looked back and said, oh my God, I've spent my whole life scared to death that I was going to get cancer because my mother died when I was only 19 of a horrible cancer death. And then my father died like 2 years before I got cancer with a horrible cancer death. That was just so horrible to look at. And I remember, and him warning me that I was probably going to get it because it was hereditary. And I'm like, cancel, 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 cancel. But as I'm doing my cancel, 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 part of me's going, oh, shoot. So, 2 years later, I get cancer. But what I do right away, I went, okay, I get it, I see it, I got it, and that's it, I'm done. Because you can use your mind to recreate something else. So that's my answer on disease, and we'll see what happens next week when we look at what Ernie says. So Ernest Holmes says, this teaching should be something which makes sense and which you can apply in your everyday affairs because you know how it works. That's why it's so important to me that you don't leave here after 10 weeks without knowing exactly how this works. Yeah.
I think it's really important to pay attention to when we do have an intention and it shows up in our life. Not to let it pass by, even small things.
Yep.
Not to let them pass by. To go, that's how it works, because it's because we keep convincing ourselves, okay, it worked there, okay, it worked there, it worked there, it worked there. And we build that's how we build our faith, our belief system. That's how we build a strong belief system.
And I think we have to also look at where we think it didn't work and actually recognize, no, this did work. Because I thought this did work.
It did.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Okay, mind is everywhere on page 8. So he talks about Einstein's theory, E equals mc squared. Does anybody want to explain that? Does anyone think they can explain the theory of relativity by Einstein? Because I'm going to do it. Simply, and then you can correct me. No, just kidding. So E equals what? Do you know what E stands for?
Energy.
Energy. So E equals, which is why that's up in the corner. What does M stand for? Mass. What does C stand for? The speed of light. It's like what I did with the keys. How fast is it going to go? How much is being impacted upon this mass, which is really just energy. So God is everywhere. So if this is energy, if energy is all that God is, and I love distilling God down to energy and getting the personal qualities out of the way. It's just energy. With inherent in energy is passion and talent and success and creativity, all of that. It also, in there, can be your use of it in a way to create the opposite of any one of those things. You all get that, right? Because it's creative energy. This is energy. So what Einstein was trying to get at was that, this is what I think he was trying to get at, was that E equals mc squared stands for this idea that we are the activating force that turns energy into what it becomes.
Say that again.
We are the activating force, the speed of light. You and I. Let's say you and I are the speed of light. The way we think, how we think, what we think. That's the speed of light in my mind when I look at this spiritually. And it is exponentially changing everything about my world, because that's what it's doing to the energy that I am. The energy that I am is being created out of the way I'm using it in my mind. Relativity. And therefore, the theory of relativity, meaning it relates to, it shows up in the relative world. So Einstein's theory is actually quite spiritual in nature. And it's why they use it so much to start to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. And I won't say religion, spirituality. Does that make sense? Did I lose anyone? Okay, so Ernest Holmes says, and this is great, we at our level possess a creativity similar to that of the universal mind. We at our level. So it behooves you to decide what level are you at. Now, I don't have all the levels planned out. I'm sure somebody's written a book, The 12 Levels of God, or whatever. But you just have to know, if this is the absolute, creative, most euphoric place to be, where are you in the scale of that? Where are you on that journey? And do you think this is possible? These are all things you have to know what you think. Is this possible? Do I believe this is possible? Okay. How can you learn to believe? He says, the right and the ability and the power to think creatively so that you have more desirable experiences is so impressive and so exceedingly important that it should be the basis of your life.
Say that again.
I was just going to say, can I read that again?
What page is that? What page is it on?
It's how can you learn to believe?
New book 9.
Yeah, new book. Thank you. The right and the ability and the power to think creatively so that you have more desirable experiences. Your right, your ability, and the power to think creatively so that you can have more desirable experiences is so impressive and so exceedingly important that it should be the basis of your life. So that means you should be walking through your life knowing who you are, what you are, and you have a right to be it at all times. No one diminishes me. I was really going to do it. It came right to my head. But I'm going to say it anyway for all of you movie buffs. No one puts baby in the corner. I had to say this came right to my head. Right? Poor guys, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You do know? Oh, Dirty Dancing? Okay, good. I can hear that. But how many of you let things put you in a corner? How many of you let things, circumstances, put you in a corner, diminish you, give you,
Or back you into a corner.
or back you into a corner? Yeah, ferociously. Okay, so we've already done the one mind, three parts. Do you all get that part?
Yes.
The one mind, three parts. There are not three parts of mind. That's just the way we teach it. But there are. They talk about it in the book. The idea that so there's a plant, there's a leaf, there's a stem, there's the roots, but it's still the same plant, right? You just have different aspects of yourself. Aspects of mind: direction, creation, and result. And I want to put that up here. So the three aspects of mind: direction, which is also conscious mind, right? One second. Creation and result. So creation, that's the one I'm not so crazy on that they use that word, but however, here's why it can work. Results. Everybody here want results?
Yes.
In your life? Right. The soul only knows to create. That's all it knows. That's its only job. Its job is to create. That's it. And it does it perfectly. Impersonally and perfectly. Meaning, whatever you direct it to do, it must give you that result. Which is why when you back it up, if these are the results you're having, somewhere along the line, you're directing your own life to be like this. very often when I counsel people or couples and there's a marriage in need of something, and sometimes what the marriage is in need of is for them to be done. It's hard because people want to stay in a status quo for fear of the unknown or for fear of change. And when that happens, what has happened? You are literally directing the law to give you a status quo experience. How are you going to possibly break free from that until you go back to the top and direct it to do something else? Make sense? Yes.
I kind of see that center section of it, the subjective mind, it's kind of like a water filter. What you want to what gravitates to what those thoughts are is what comes through the body.
Yes.
So it's like pouring something through a filter, and the things that come through are what you're allowing to come through, which is your thoughts are attaching to it to draw out of it, and that's what kind of you see once it comes through.
I think that's an interesting analogy, but it doesn't work for me because of this.
Well, I mean, that's just how I've started to look at it.
Actually, it would be lovely if it were a water filter.
Right.
And pulled all the crap we gave it out.
Right, exactly.
Before it gave us the alkaline water.
Right.
Yes.
It pulls stuff down where you're at.
Unfortunately, yes, it's not.
Yeah.
In fact, there is no filter.
Right.
There's just
all that stuff in there.
whatever you put it in, and it's going to go right through and give you exactly what you put in. Yes. But I love that idea.
Yeah, it's like a
Don't
filter.
you all love a filter? Don't you love the law to sit there and go, obviously, you did not mean that. You do not want me to give you what you just said. Yeah. I know. I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
That's what a practitioner's for. You go to a practitioner and they're saying, really, do not want to think that way. No, if they're saying that to you, they shouldn't give you advice. But they can sit there and just know the truth. Here's what I know. You don't mean that. Here's what I know. Whatever you just said, boom. Okay, so here's our next thing to do. Just so you know, these classes are supposed to be 3 hours. I'm not doing 3-hour classes. I want to try to get it done in 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 15 minutes. And I did want to ask this question. Would you all rather start at 7 instead of 7:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a hard time getting here by 7? Yeah?
One over here. One over
You can't get
here.
here by 7
You
either.
can probably create.
He can't make
Maybe
it.
7:15.
Oh.
Would that work? All right. Let Caressa know what you all think, because I can do that. Okay, so pull out your questions, the 6 questions. Okay? Now, here's the deal. It's 9:15. You're going to get 15 minutes. You're going to find someone that you don't know. Yeah, not you two. You're going to find someone you don't know, and you're going to share your 6 questions. And here's the thing. You get about a minute a question. So you're going to do your 6 questions. You've got about a minute a question to share your answer to this person that you pick. Pick someone you don't know. I would appreciate that. And that makes 12 minutes, because each one of you gets a minute for your 6 questions. That's 12 minutes. I'm giving you 3 minutes because I know you're not going to really keep it to a minute. So you've got 3 extra minutes there. Okay, but I am going to time you so that we are on a timely fashion. So go ahead. You guys online, do we have 4 people online?
Three just had to leave.
Oh, okay. But you know what? Don and Lori are there. So, okay, so then Eric can share with Lena, and then Don and Lori can share together, even though they do know each other. Okay, you all ready? Go. Find who you want, and you can pull your chairs out and just face each other.
What's your name?
All right. Oh, Nancy? Who are you sharing? Who are you sharing? Grab a piece of paper and do it. Danny, you don't have anybody?
I know. I got two containers of, just so water,
What are you gonna do with them?
Just chatting. All right.
Where are the headphones? Hey, Eric. Can you hear me?
Hey, Eric, can you hear me? Yes, you have to.
Yes, I can.
Did you do your answers?
I'm doing them back and forth with Lena. We're chatting them, typing them.
Oh, you're typing them instead of chatting them.
Well, because I don't know of a way for us to talk privately. We can chat on the, chat box though.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see you there, Lena, smiling. Okay. I'd love to hear what you answered. I'd love to hear what both of you answered on the question. What would you do if you, what's the question about that? Not the $1 million.
There's 6 months to live, and there's...
That was it, 6 months to live. There's something telling about that question.
You want to go ahead, Lena?
6 months to live. That was really short for me. That's the one that I said I'd go live by the ocean somewhere warm and travel.
Would you quit your job?
Yes.
Would you sell everything and just get rid of everything?
Well, I hadn't thought of it to that degree.
You just found out and left.
I just got up and left.
Funny.
Yeah.
What did you write, Eric?
I wrote a bit more. I said I would write something that is more in the realm of life philosophy than I normally do, which interestingly came up twice in these 6 answers. And I don't know why. I totally didn't expect that. I put I would get my financial house in order. I would focus on love and on spirituality. And I would let go of concerns about all the stuff that tends to concern me now.
Wow. So do you know where we're going with this?
Do I know where we're going with this?
Yeah. I mean, do you know what does it benefit you to know that information?
Well, you're going to say you should do all that stuff now.
Well, I don't want Lena to just quit her job and move to the ocean. But for me, my answer was this. I said I would sell this building to the highest bidder and not care about the price. Whatever it was, fine, get out of here. That's number one. And then I would turn the church over to Karen Mitchell and just show up on Sundays, like every other Sunday, to speak. But I would literally step back from all the work I do to run the church and spend time with my family. Like really be the teenage Uber that I am right now. Just drive them everywhere and just spend time with them and, that sort of thing.
And you would direct a musical written by Margaret Owens.
Oh my
just
God.
Walk in the room.
Eric, it is so awesome, that musical. I just cry constantly. And not because Margaret is so badgering, but because it's really that good.
She's laughing in the background.
What time's it? Okay, I'm getting off now. Thank you, both of you, for that answer.
Thank you.
Change that over to the snowball.
Here's snowball. Great.
Nope, 22 is too much.
Hard to do that.
All right, everyone. You can go back to your own seats if you like. Or not. Okay. You done?
Thank you.
Okay, so any thoughts you want to share before I go into my denouement, my closing? What happened for you? What happened? Anything? Any clarity?
Yes, we were sharing, Jan and I, that it was, I said, I felt kind of put in a box, I got a little angry when I started reading these, like, don't make me answer it that way, like, whoop. And then I realized, that's where the clarity comes through. Like,
Yeah, don't ask me what I'm going to do if I had 6 months to live.
yeah, that was the first one, like, stop it, or wait, maybe I'll do a million things, maybe I don't want to say them all, and I thought, well, I'm not arguing with you.
Who are you arguing
I
with?
know, so I had to go like, oh, that was interesting.
What would you do if someone told you you had 6 months to live? I'd tell them they were insane. I'd say, how do you know? What else? So here's the real question. How creative was your discussion? So if you're creating, I don't mean were you a good writer? How creative was your answer? Were you creative in the way you answered? No, I mean this. It's all energy. It's all creative energy. It's all creating. You're answering simple questions on a page creates an energy to it. Yeah.
So I put down skydiving. It's like one of those things that scared me. And Eliza's like, oh, you got to do it. And I'm like, okay. And so that actually shifted me. I'm like, oh, okay. So it was this far off, like scary thing. That's like, actually, she made it sound pretty fun. So there's a creative energy now.
Has she ever done it?
So.
When she gets back, let's see. You should do it.
In the plane, come on.
Go do it. Tell me how it is. I'll see if I want to do it. I've always wanted to skydive too. But I know that once I'm up in a plane and see a big hole in the ground below me, I just don't see me jumping. And no, and I do not see me attaching myself to it. No.
I did it.
Did you? Was it good? There you go. Do it. So here's the thing. You're all creating. We're creating at all times. That exercise was you creating something. So what did you just create? This is how awake and aware we have to be. What did you just create with those answers? You're speaking. This was you. Here's what you were doing. This is you up here. You just directed your attention to questions that went in here, and it's gonna come out here. So did you just sort of glaze over it so that the law just says, yeah, you're gonna get like kind of, you didn't even mean any of this. There's nothing going on. So the degree with which you actually threw yourself into this is determining what this is. The belief behind it, right?
Yep.
So how creative was it? How much do you believe what you just said? What
Can I
was
share
creative?
something?
Yes.
Can I share something?
Mhm.
Sean believes what he wrote. He wrote very specific, very erudite, very clear, very impassioned, and it's a done deal. It's just a done deal. So it's, you know, it's about the
That's what you
intent.
think.
That's
Do
what
you?
I think.
Yeah, I actually answered that question honestly, and I don't know if this would be sort of thing I should write, but that's how I honestly felt.
And would you share it?
It was about what would you do if you won $1 million?
Okay, good.
All right, so my answer was, well, $1 million is actually not a lot of money.
That's exactly what I said.
It's true. So I said that's not enough money to do, like, to answer the question that you know, that it's kind of implied, like $1 million is going to solve everything in your life. So I would actually, the first thing I would do would be invest very diligently that $1 million to turn that into $4 million, and turn that $4 million into $10 million. And along the way, I would be as diligent and rigorous in investing it and enjoy the trading to trade well. Not just to make more money, but to do it well, do it properly. And then after that comes the next stage. I said, oh, I should answer that way, because that may sound too greedy. Or avoiding the question.
Come in. I want to know if you skydive. Have you ever skydived?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So I don't think that's greedy. So it was interesting to challenge. Well, that's what I says. That's not greedy. It's how I really feel. That's what I would really do. And this whole exercise was something I was avoiding for a couple of days because I didn't want to write all this stuff down. I wanted to look at the other answers, you know, stuff I read, regurgitated. I said don't do that. Do this. This is the hard part. These are hard. I have to be forced to do it. $1 million. Maddie and I were talking, and I was like, $1 million. First thing I said was, it's not a lot of money. Let's get clear first. And once I paid off my mortgages and all of my debt, and then I put the $400,000 it's going to take to put 2 kids through college, I was done. And I've just eased my life up a little bit. And it was very logical. And then my mind went to, but you know, $1 million is just not enough. Because that was my reaction. I was like annoyed. That $1 million. What would you do with $1 million? Just the concept that someone thinks that's a lot of money is just annoying to me. You know? So what's your litmus test? What's a lot?
But no one said that $1 million was a lot of money. They just said, what would you do with $1 million?
I know. I was judging. Thank you. I was judging the writers of this tape. Come on, folks.
Let's change it to 10.
Right. So, how much do you think happened tonight based on what you said? How much do you think his thing? Did your mind? Wow, you're really close.
I'm sorry.
It's not
Good.
good.
It's nice.
How much? What have you done tonight with your mind in answering some of these questions?
Neural pathways.
Okay, great. Wow. Yeah. And also be very careful if you found things that you're not happy with of expanding those. Make sure if you found something you weren't happy with, that you turn around. You go, okay, great, I see that. I get that. I know that that's who I've been. I know I believe things that make me think that way. And here's what I'm going to know instead. That's being the gatekeeper of your mind, making sure you do not let rogue beliefs turn into anything else. You cut them off at the pass and decide what to put in their place. Got it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, homework. Can I give you your homework for next week?
Yes.
It's going to sound like a lot, and it is. No, it's really not a lot. Okay? So, and Krista, this has to go out to everybody who's not here
I
yet.
know, I need to write it down. Don't move around.
So you're going to read pages 17 to 41 in How to Change Your Life. Pages 17 to 41 in How to Change Your Life. And you're going to answer the questions at the end of the chapters. So Ernest Holmes has questions at the end of these chapters. They're pretty provocative, but you got to think about them to answer them. They're not really quick, off the top of your head answers. So answer them. Write it out in your book. Okay? And then I want you to do how you talk exercise. That's in this week's curriculum that I gave you. Okay, how you talk, fill out that exercise. Read all the source material for class 3, which you'll get. It's just about 4 or 5 pages. Okay? And then I'd like you to, you know the meditation stuff they talk about in this? I'd like you to, rather than do affirmations this week, I'd like you to try to find 10 minutes a day. at least 10 minutes a day to meditate in any way you want. You don't have to use the meditation in the book. You don't have to follow their guidelines. Meditation, contemplation. You know the difference between the two? Meditation, you're going to just receive and allow. Contemplation, you bring something into it. You pick some focal point to bring into it. So there you go. Pages 17 to 41, how to change your life. Answer the questions at the end of the chapter. Do the how you talk exercise. We are going to work with that. Read the source material for class 3 and start the meditation process.
But not the affirmation.
Not the affirmations this week, no. You can continue doing your affirmations if you want, to be very honest. But no, this week we're going to do meditation. Yes, Reza?
Actually turn in.
Nothing to turn in, no. If you're doing this class for credit, though, and you end up not being here for some reason, you have to watch it later, you need to send me the how you talk exercise, so I know you did the work. Okay? Any questions, Sean? No.
Or the affirmation?
No. The affirmations are really for you. I wanted you to bring them because I needed you to use them tonight. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
You said for credit?
Yeah.
Is that, no.
Okay, for credit, when you become Joselito as a practitioner, in order to be a practitioner, Liza is here because she's planning to be a practitioner. I hope Eric is planning to be a practitioner. Okay. He's going to be a practitioner, he's going to start out.
He did his affirmation for him.
So here's what that means. You start out, there are courses to take. Beyond Limits is one of them. I've set up this year to give anyone who would like to be a practitioner the chance to do it, because this year I'm teaching 3 things in a row that are all towards the practitioner track, which is this. The next one is Creative Thought in the Individual, which is Thomas Troward, the best book of Thomas Troward's, I think. And then Essential Ernest Holmes. So those 3 courses are the 3 of the criteria to go into practitioner studies. So you take it for credit, meaning you will get a certificate at the end of this saying you passed throughout Beyond Limits. Okay? But please let Caressa know that you're doing this for credit, so that I'm clear on who's going forward with that idea. Yes. So, any other questions about homework or anything? Okay, so shall we treat ourselves out of here? Ice cream.
Yeah.
You don't stand for this. Take your energy and move it. You guys at home too, Lena, get up. I can see you all. So just let yourself. You are a body of energy. So just do me a favor and just give yourself a little bounce. Just a little bounce in your body. You're just going to bounce and breathe. And then stop. Now feel the tingling. Feel your body. Feel that energy that you are. Recognize that it is in motion at all times, active, alive, creative. This infinite source, this conscious mind, spirit, love, the driver, the oversoul, that divine energy is what and who each one of us is. And I know that this evening we have taken that energy and we have directed it and moved energy upon itself, creating whatever we choose to create from it. I know that every mind in this room is conscious. Every mind in this room is aware. every mind in this room or in any room that is attached to this room is vibrant, knows who it is, what it is. And by the power of this energy and this truth and this knowing, we direct it right here and right now to an understanding of oneness that literally bathes us in love. So I take us back to the top of this class. I'll give a moment of silence for you to think about, if you remember those affirmations, what pops forward that you heard? That is the truth of who each one of us is. And so as we leave this room tonight, as we close this class, we give thanks for all that has been accomplished. I give thanks for what has been done here this evening. I am grateful to every soul in this room as it pertains to every spirit. And I give great thanks to the body of life that I am standing on, I am standing in, and that stands all around me, knowing that it is only good. And so we leave here, step into our evenings, into the rest of this week, so we come back here again next week, knowing that we are right here and right now focused on creating the lives we choose to live. There is a power in the universe that we can use because we are it, and we use it every moment on purpose. This is what I know, and I just let it be so, as together we all say, and so it is. Ah, have a great night, everyone. Good night, Eric. Good night, Nina. Good night, Laurie and Don. So, Carissa? I think next week. Oh, we have to recording? Stop recording? Bye, Lena. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm going to talk to her. Lena, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hello.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking at myself. Where are you?
I'm here. Hold on.
Okay.
There I am. Bye, guys. Bye. Saying goodbye to everybody. I just wanted to say hi to you. Hey, Connie, would you turn the lights on? There we are. I know, I don't want to look at you there. I'll look at you there. Except I can see you up there, which is good.
I see. Bizarre.
Oh, I said page 17 in my book.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll have to fix this. It starts here. It's going to be 15. Page 15 in your book.
Same question. What if you start at the beginning of the
Oh, you can. I just taught that tonight. Read the whole thing. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for asking me. I will send an email out about that. Anyway, I have to say goodbye to everybody, but I just wanted to say goodbye to you.
And thank you so much. That was a great class. Really enjoyed it.
Was it a better experience of it?
Yes, it was much better.
Good. I'm glad. Okay,
And
sweetie.
those questions were awesome. So have a good night. Thank you very much.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Write that down. Thank you.